Good morning and welcome. I'm Catherine Melvin. I'll be your trainer for the next 3 days. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a business manager for the last 25 years in government contracting. I've had the opportunity to train many different courses with many different groups of people in an organization. Some of the training I've done is basic EVMS, change control, program control, analysis, roles and responsibilities, finance for non-financial managers, leadership, you name it, I've probably trained it. So, let me thank you for bringing me into your company and letting me train you and work with you. I look forward to getting to know you over the next few days. So here's the agenda for the week. I'm going to work with you, the program control analyst, this week, today. Tomorrow I'll work with the program manager team. And then on Thursday we'll bring you both together and look at leadership, ethics, and do some trainings, do some team building exercises. All right, let's begin. Wait, before I start, let's get over some logistics here. The bathroom is out the back door, to the left and around the corner. There's drinks and food at the back table. Please feel free to interrupt me, to ask questions, to talk. Let's make this a dialogue, not just me standing up here talking. All right, let's begin. What we're going to talk about today is why I'm here, what the purpose is, and then we're going to talk about program control analyst responsibilities and roles. I like to look at it as an onion. So we're going to have 3 sections. We're going to look at the onion, it's an overview, and then for section 2, we're going to kind of peel back the onion. We'll take a little bit of a break from program control and go ahead and look at an overview of indirects. We'll have lunch, we'll do a working lunch where we'll do team building. And then at the end of the day, we're going to totally unwrap the onion and go into details of your jobs. Let's start. All right, here's why I'm here. You know how when you're a mother, say you've got triplets or 3 toddlers and you're always running after them cleaning up? You got messes, you got this, you're behind them doing that. That's what happens with program control analysts. We get a lot of cleanups to do. We learn of things after the fact. So this training this week is to help all the team members, both the program and the PCAs, work together to get ahead of the problems and hopefully resolve them or stop them altogether. All right, here's the onion. 1, you'll see that I put the PCA right in the center of the screen because the PCAs are the central conduit for all the different parts of the organization concerning a contract. PCAs look at the cost. They watch the cash. We work side by side with the program manager. We also work with purchasing and subcontracts. We work with cost accounting. And PCAs definitely work with contracts. And last but not least, well, not last, we are concerned with revenue and return on sales, and we work with the vendors themselves. So as you can see, we're in the middle, and we work with all of these groups. We work internally with internal customers, and we work externally with vendors and sometimes our customers. All right. So we're going to talk about cost control, some of the items that were on the previous screen. It's up to the PCAs to control the cost. Control starts with the PCAs. And how do we do this? Well, we start with the work breakdown structure that was determined during the proposal process. If it needs to be tweaked, we'll work with the program manager and the team to get it tweaked, but it's our responsibility to put it into the accounting system. And once it's in the accounting system, we have networks or charge numbers that we are responsible with the program team to get to the employees to make sure that they charge correctly. We also do monthly reviews of the cost to make sure that the program is staying within budget. We don't want to find out at the end that we've spent all our money and we're in trouble. All right. Okay, it is our fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we are consistent in forecasting our sales and our return on sales. That is something that Wall Street looks at. They want to know that a company can forecast their sales over time and they can trust them. We do this because we work together with the program manager to set up good forecasts. If you don't have a good forecast, it just flies out the window, and it takes both sides of the team to make a good concrete forecast. You need to ask questions. When are you filling that vacancy? What are you going to do about the equipment? Is it coming in? How are we going to handle this, and what are we going to do with that? If you have time and materials contracts, then you want to check the rates and the cost of against the cost of the person that you're bringing in. Hopefully you'll do it before they bring it in. A lot of times they bring the person in after, and then you say, oh, wait a minute, we're losing 10%. And they didn't know that beforehand. I'm hoping that our training this week will take care of issues like that. You look at your direct non-billable. You make sure that it's in line with what you proposed. You do an unbilled analysis, making sure that your costs are billed as quickly as possible. You control the lagging costs, so you get after the vendors to make sure they bring in their invoices or do their time cards on time. All right, cash is king. It's a saying around here, and there's a reason for it. Wall Street looks at cash. How fast do you turn over your receivables and bring cash in the door? The way we do that is by ensuring that we get the invoices out as quickly as possible, which goes to the very first page that I talked about. If we're behind the problems, the invoices are going to go out later. If we're in front of the problems, we'll be able to put them out to the customer as quickly as possible. If there's an issue with the invoice, we follow up on it, or we get contracts or the program manager to go follow up with the customer. We're always looking at our cash flow. And again, we check the unbilled and make sure that it's all being unbilled and nothing's sitting there that doesn't belong there. All right. We are the primary contact for the vendors. Yes, they start off with procurement, but we work with procurement to make sure they have their purchase orders, to make sure they're set up in the system correctly. If you have an auxiliary accounting system, we want to make sure that the vendors understand what they need to do in that system and have access to it, that they know what their networks or charge numbers are, that they know what their bill codes are, if there are any, and that they put their time in, if that's what they're doing, or their invoices in as quickly as possible. We also want to build a team with them. We want them to feel part of the program team. So what we do is we run interference for them. If they're having trouble getting paid, we try to resolve that issue. Anything that they need, we try to find the person who can fix it if we can't. Okay, as you see, we're back in the middle. And why are we in the middle? Because we partner with cost accounting to get the invoices out in time. And they do fee adjustments. We want to make sure that we're working with them. We work with purchasing to make sure our subcontracts and our vendors have what they need to do their job and to bill us. We work with contracts so that they know if we're running out of funding or if we have any other cost-affecting contractual issues. And finally, we work with the program manager. We give him the information to make insightful decisions for the contract. All right, I didn't tell you this, but I like to ask odd questions, just to give people a break. What is bigger than the universe, and if you eat it all week, you will not gain any weight? We'll take a 10-minute break and come back and talk about that. Good morning and welcome. My name is Catherine Melvin. I will be your trainer for the next 3 days. Before we begin the training, let me say just a little bit about myself. I've been a business manager for the last 25 years, specifically in government contracting. I've had the opportunities to train many groups of people on different subjects. Some of them are EVMS, change control, labor compliance, program control analysis, roles and responsibilities, which we will do here today, finance for non-financial managers, and also leadership training. At different offsites and retreats, I've been able to hold team building exercises, which I love to do, and we'll be doing them here today. Let me tell you, thank you for having me and for the opportunity to work with you to have the team grasp this subject a little bit better by the end of the third day. Now, before we begin, let's do some logistics here. The bathroom is out that back door to the left and around the corner. There are drinks and snacks on the back table. Please feel free to help yourself. We'll take 2 10-minute breaks every couple of hours just to make sure we're awake and alert and to get the cobwebs out of our heads. Also, the most important thing is please feel free to interrupt me, to ask questions, to share your experiences. If you actually have a particular issue that you're trying to resolve, let's bring it up, let's discuss it, see if we can help you find a solution. All right, are we ready? Let's begin. This is what we're going to do over the next 3 days. Not what is on the screen, but I'm going to tell you what we're going to do on the next 3 days. We're going to work with you, the PCAs, on your roles and responsibilities. Tomorrow I'll bring in the program management team and work with them on their roles and responsibilities. On Thursday, we'll bring you all together and we'll discuss what we've learned to make sure that by the end of Thursday we leave on the same page. We'll also go over some leadership concepts, ethics, and of course do some team building exercises. For today, our agenda is this: an introduction, why am I here? I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And then we're going to talk about the roles and responsibilities of the program control analyst. There are 3 different sections for this. I like to look at it as an onion. We'll do an overview for the first section. For the second section, we'll start unpeeling the onion. We'll get a little deeper. We're going to take a break from the onion and discuss an overview of indirects. And then finally today, we're going to totally show and reveal the onion. It'll be details of what you do on your job. We'll have a working lunch. It's okay. We'll have a working lunch and do a team building exercise. Also, I like to throw in off-the-wall questions that really have nothing to do with what we're talking about, just to keep you interested and on your toes. Okay, so why am I here? I'm here to move the cost program control team from being behind issues to being in front. You know, if you have toddlers or if you've ever had kids or seen them, you're usually running behind them trying to fix things. They've spilled stuff, they've messed up stuff, you're cleaning up afterwards. Well, sometimes that's what the program control analyst does. I mean, more than sometimes, it's a lot of times that's what happens to the program control. The program makes a decision to do something for the customer without telling the program control analyst, and they end up finding out after the fact that more money was spent than was expected for the forecast. So, we want to be able to work together and get in front of any issues and hopefully not have as many problems. You can't do this alone. You need both the program manager and the program control analyst to work together to resolve these things. Okay, here's the onion. You'll see in the middle of the screen that the PCA is right there at the hub. I believe that the PCA has everything revolving around them that has to do with the life of the contract. They take care of costs, purchasing, cash. They work with the program manager, cost accounting, contracts. We care about the revenue and the return on sales for the corporation, and we also deal outside of the company with the vendors. You can see we deal internally and externally. Cost control starts with the PCA. And how do we do that? Well, we start with a work breakdown structure. We work with the program team to develop or use the work breakdown structure that we submitted in the proposal. It's our responsibility, though, to get it into the system, the accounting system. We also, after it's in the accounting system, are responsible for making sure that the employees have the right networks or charge codes to use. We set up the vendors. We submit the purchase order so they can get, we submit the purchase request so they can get the purchase orders so we can get their invoices. We do month-end cost reviews and variance analysis. We forecast this, but we spent this. We want to know why we did that, and every month we look at it and let management know what's happening with the program. We also control communication costs, such as laptops, desktops, cell phones, anything that has to do with communications. We want to make sure we're being charged correctly. It's our fiduciary responsibility as program control analysts to make sure that we're forecasting revenue and return on sales consistent throughout the life of the program. Now notice that I said throughout the life of the program. On a month-to-month basis, the revenue and the return on sales can change. We can do a fee adjustment that it can either spike or bring down our return on sales. That's normal. But over the life of the contract, we want to be consistent. This is something that Wall Street looks at, that a company knows its programs enough to consistently forecast their revenue and return on sales. And we do this by developing a solid forecast with the program manager. Ask questions. When are you filling that vacancy? When are we buying that equipment? What are you going to do about this? Talk to them so that you have a good, hard forecast. Yes, it's a living document and it moves, but you need to know where you are at the start. If you have a time and material program, you want to make sure that you're earning a positive return on sales with the people and where they are assigned to the labor category. Hopefully you will do it prior to the offer being made to the person. Sometimes program managers don't check with their PCAs and we find out that we're losing money on a person. We may want to do that in some situations, but it's better to know that beforehand. You look at your direct non-billable. Make sure that it's what you said you would do during the proposal. Every month do an unbilled analysis. Make sure that your costs are being billed out as quickly as possible. You have lagging costs, you're the one that gets them back in the door and make sure the vendors or the manufacturers submit their invoices quickly. You run to ground any procurement issues. And you complete EACs. Now an EAC is an estimate at completion. We're going to go into detail this afternoon. But for now, know that it's a summary of your cost expenditures to date, what you and the program manager think you're going to spend till the end of the contract. We add them together and we get where you think you're going to be at the end of the program. This tells you the life and the health of a contract. Now, some corporations require that you only do it quarterly based on the funding value of like 10 million or more. I suggest strongly that you do this monthly. You want to know the health of your contract and you want to be able to tell the program manager where you stand. Cash is king. Cash is another thing that Wall Street looks at. They want to know how fast you turn over your receivables. Day sales outstanding or day sales receivable measure how quickly we turn over our receivables. Either one can be used, it just depends on your management and what they choose. We do this, again, by keeping the unbilled in control, which brings us back to the cost analyst, by timing of invoices, getting them out as quickly as possible, and by looking at our fee. Is it right? Are we accruing at the right rate? We look at that monthly. We are the primary contact for vendors. Yes, procurement talks to them, sets them up, negotiates with them, but we're the ones who make sure they put their invoices in on time or their timesheets. We're the ones who try to track down issues for them and resolve them. If there's an auxiliary system that feeds into the basic accounting system of the corporation, we're the ones who want to make sure that those vendors or their companies know how to use that system and that they're putting their time or their invoices in per the purchase order. Now we want to be a team with them, so let's work together. One interference for them. If they have issues, they're not getting paid, try to track that down. Maybe you can't do it, but maybe you can find a person who can. Again, here we are, back at the middle. The PCA partners with cost accounting to make sure invoices are done as quickly as possible. The PCA partners with purchasing and subcontracts to make sure the vendors have what they need. PCAs partner with contracts. We let them know when we're going to run out of funding and how much more funding we need, or any other cost issues that affect the contract. And finally, we work hand in hand with the program manager. We really should be their right-hand person. We give them the information to make good, sound decisions. All right, we're done with section 1. So here's the question. What is bigger than the universe? You can eat it all week and you won't gain any weight. We'll take a 10-minute break and come back and find out what it is.